States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Councilor Geary?
Present.
Councilor Pope? Here. Councilor Miller? Here. Councilor Croxall?
Here.
President Strani?
Here.
Councilor Wien?
Here.
Mayor Thomas? We're in quorum.
Okay, before we go on to the approval of minutes and so forth, I have some housekeeping to do. We have two add-ons. The first one, after the comments from the citizens present, I'm going to allow council to make a statement concerning agenda item number A. So you'll each have a chance to make a statement at that time after the comments from citizens present.
But that's going to be before my remarks.
Yes, you can make your remarks concerning the project during your meeting. Second thing is we have a motion that I'm going to turn over to the solicitor for him to read, and then if anyone has any comments concerning this that they would like to sign in yet, they can still feel free to do so.
Yes, Mr. President. One other possible motion to add on to the agenda this evening would be a motion to approve a one-time lump sum payment in the amount of $2,000 to the borough manager in lieu of any salary increase for 2015.
And that will come after Z. We'll call that Z1. Okay, I'm looking for a motion for the December 3rd, 2014 Committee of the Whole minutes. It's been moved. Second? Second. It's been seconded. Any questions or corrections? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. December 8th, 2014 Council meeting minutes. I'm looking for a motion.
So moved.
Moved and seconded. Any questions or corrections to this? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Comments from citizens present. Due to the large number of speakers that we have, I'm strictly going to adhere to the 3-minute time limit. Please do not feel offended if I say that's it. You've got to stop. We have a lot of items on our agenda, and it's part of our rules. So thank you for your courtesy at that time.
First up is Diane Crum.
Hi, Diane Crum, North River Street in Pottstown. I'm hoping tonight that you send a strong letter of support for the Beach Street project and to back up the Better Landlord program. We have many things in this town that are good. We got the carousel, we have the good restaurants, we have the theater, we have the railroad, but we also have major crime. We had the shootout at OK Corral on the streets a couple weeks ago. Half of our housing units are unregistered or rentals. A lot of them are unregistered. We have a lot of plans to fix the parks. But what we really need is a major plan. I suggest, and I think it was being kicked around, that we have some type of committee that includes borough, police, the school, the downtown association, a couple Joe six-packs from the town, that we can come together and we can make a master plan for where we want Pottstown to be going in the future. And it won't matter whether you're sitting there or somebody's on the school board or who's here, that the plan can move forward without any personal agendas. Nobody saying that it's only a perceived idea or I had nothing to do with it, or my husband, God bless his soul's, favorite saying about Pottstown, which was that it was a one-horse town and that horse was dead. I don't believe that. There If you're not part of the problem, you're the solution, you're part of the problem. This week, I shared a link for a program about the changes in Camden, New Jersey with some of my friends. I would like to send that link to you. And it's a half-hour program. It's called, I think it's called More South Jersey. It's some of the things that Camden has done in their renewal. Especially the part of their police department, I think, is something for us to look at. The only other thing I'd like to say is that there's been discussion of hiring some full-time code people, inspectors, whatever you want to call them. And maybe down the road that's a good idea, but from what I understand, a lot of our civil employees come with very high price tags and benefit packages and things like that. So maybe we should look at the best way of using those few dollars we have, and maybe for a year or whatever, some temporary thing, to have independent contractors that may cost us less to go and do more, and then revisit that codes department in a year or two. Thank you.
Thank you. If you could get that, send that link to our secretary that she can forward it on to council. Thank you.
Obie Mild.
Good evening. My name's Obie Mild. I am a resident of Pottstown, but I'm here because I am the market analyst for the Beach Street Factory Apartments. And I was homesick with the flu last week when you had your working session, so I wanted to be here tonight in case there were any questions lingering or if I could help with any answers. And that's basically what I had to say.
Okay, thank you for coming this evening. And if there's any thing that council needs to ask you, we'll do that during the motion. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you.
Dave Garner.
Good evening. I'm here tonight to speak in favor of the Beach Street Factory project. For the third time, the council is being asked to issue a letter of support, which has been deemed to be critical to this project receiving approval for the tax credits that it needs in order to go forward. I know a lot of these things have been said before, but I think that the reasons to support this are compelling. It's a good project, $12.7 million investment in the community with an on-site managed building and a demonstrated commercial use in Art Fusion in the building. The developers have a proven track record. Housing Visions has been doing what they're doing for over 20 years. They have hundreds of units that they are managing, and their projects are all very good. Genesis Housing has been active in Pottstown for over 15 years, and anybody who knows anything about the work that they've done has to agree that they've made a significant difference in helping to revive neighborhoods. It will transform an empty building into an anchor in the neighborhood and probably serve as a catalyst for other development in this town. And it will also demonstrate to developers that Pottstown is serious about redevelopment of the town. I think up until now, that's a big question mark. And a great number of residents and organizations have issued letters of support for the project. I believe the council has received, if not directly, indirectly, they've received those letters, so you're aware that a lot of organizations and a lot of residents are hoping that you will issue a letter of support. If for some reason you don't issue the letter of support, I think it's incumbent that each and every one of you explain why you are not supporting this. Up until now, I've been following what's going on, and it's very tough to see if there's any cogent reasons why you're not supporting this. And then also, you need to explain to the public what your plan is for redeveloping the site and what you've been doing to make that happen. I hope you issue a letter of support. Thank you.
Thank you.
Rick Shepard.
Good evening. I own the property at 12 East 2nd Street. I'm a landlord. I rent that unit out. And I want to speak briefly about an email that I sent to all of the councilors, the mayor, and to the administration office regarding the proposed rental ordinance change. I've done some research on it, and I'll suffice it to say that I'm against that. I don't think it's a good move to put through that change. My email lays out all those details. I won't read through them now. I'm going to assume that every one of you have seen that email, and if you haven't, I will gladly share it with you. but I do want to read the closing paragraph. I attended your December 3rd, 2014 public work session. At the start of that session, Mayor Valentine Thomas made an impassioned speech in which she spoke of her desire to attract investors to the borough of Pottstown. It sounded sincere to me. I was impressed. I ask you now, please, let's follow her lead and make it easier for people to choose to invest in properties in Pottstown. Your proposed change to the current rental ordinance will accomplish the exact opposite. Thank you.
Thank you for those comments.
Andrew Monastra.
Hey, can people still sign up to do comments, or is that closed?
Nope, you can.
Hello, everyone. I'm Andrew Monastra, 740
Here you
East
go,
High
sir.
Street.
Hold on, Andy.
No problem.
Anyone else in the audience?
Well, first thing I want to say is I appreciate each and every one of you who come up here and take out of your time to try to do what's best for Pottstown. It's a thankless job, but I would like to say thank you. I appreciate all that you do to try to make Pottstown a better place. That being said, I'm here to support the Beach Street project. There's several reasons why, they're obvious. Someone's interested in putting $12 million into the borough. That's pretty serious. That's a serious investment. That's a serious chunk of change to invest in this town that hasn't seen that kind of investment probably in a long time. The individuals who were doing it, Judy Member, Heather Schroeder of Housing Business, Judy of Genesis, are tremendous people with a proven track record of helping communities prosper. What's the downside? Well, the downside to me is what stops people from succeeding. And that's the fear of failure. Fear of failure is one of the most powerful things I could think of. It stops people from doing what needs to be done or what they know they can do. It stops us in our tracks. Could this project fail? Sure. No one has any guarantees in life. I don't have a guarantee in life. But fear of failure isn't a good reason to not try. There's a corny little basketball thing that says we always miss 100% of the shots we don't take. This is a shot we need to take because the upside is spectacular. Don't let the fear of failure stop us from moving forward. We won't go forward if we do nothing. That's all I have to say. Again, thank you all. I appreciate all that you do today.
Thank you for those comments.
Shauna Williams.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. I'm a landlord and resident in Pottstown and have come to express my concerns and grievances to the proposed rental ordinance you wish to vote on this week. Firstly, I'm sure there are procedures in place where tenants may express their concerns if living conditions are not up to par. There are ordinances that enable tenants to launch complaints against landlords who are in violation of housing codes. This ordinance would violate the privacy of every tenant that is satisfied and living comfortably in their homes. Imagine if you were forced to open your home to strangers just so they could come and walk through and see if everything was up to code. Would you feel violated? Would you want to have to pay them to do this every year? Or from a landlord's perspective, would you want to have to take time off from your work schedule to allow inspectors to walk through your properties to tell you that everything is fine? Thank you for your time and your money. The proposed ordinance is only going to further damage the already unstable economic conditions existing in the town. What this ordinance would achieve is not better conditions for Pottstown, but a more strained relationship with the taxpayers and the residents. Increasing costs on investors and violating the privacy of people's homes is certainly not a good way to increase interest in this town. Find avenues that will increase revenue and attract businesses and jobs and opportunity for growth and development of our young people. That would be a much better way to spend crucial tax dollars. Nurturing existing relationships with your investors is key to continuing a forward momentum in economic growth. We must speak to representatives in towns like Louisville, Media, Skippack, and such to see what would be the best mode of action to build thriving businesses in the community. Create collaborative teams that understand how to engage the public and bring in exciting events that would attract professionals and business investors. Right now, it's difficult for current residents to make ends meet. There are challenges that they have even paying their rents every month. It's not fair to either party, neither the landlords nor the residents, to add more pressure on an already volatile situation. I thank you for your time and attention and allowing me to speak. Have a good night.
Thank you very much.
Erica Hornberg Cooper.
I would like to think that the third time was the charm for Art Fusion, also known as Gallery on High and Gallery School of Pottstown. But ladies and gentlemen, this is the fourth time I, on behalf of my board of directors, have appeared asking for assistance and support in securing a permanent home for Art Fusion, one that would meet all ADA requirements. The magnitude of this project is huge for Pottstown, since the old Kiwi factory was rehabilitated for Montgomery County Community College on High Street. What a success story that was, though I am unclear if you collect any revenue from that site. The Beach Street project will generate a yearly stipend of around $30,000+ for taxes, never mind the permit fees for moving forward. Housing Visions has done their due diligence by meeting every criteria requested on that application on all levels. They just ask for your support. I do want to remind you, as a governing body, that the arts in Pennsylvania generated over $150,000 in local revenues alone and employ over 81,000 people full-time in Pennsylvania. Pottstown is also in a position to apply for an Arts Place grant that could possibly bring an additional $500,000 into our community. Now I come to you as a tax-paying resident. The last 7 months, my neighborhood has experienced gang-style warfare. This is not acceptable. In the 1980s, New York City developed what they coined the broken window theory. If we as New Yorkers wanted to remain blind and timid to crime, vandalism, and corruption, we would lose our city. A clear and heartfelt statement. Citizens slowly rallied up along with the police department, transit authority, and started taking back the streets one block at a time. The New York City Transit Authority would scrub subways of graffiti each night when the cars went back to the yards. Neighbors started working together to clean up their neighborhoods. I ask you to apply some of the same methodology here in Pottstown. A few weeks ago, a mailman was assaulted in that very neighborhood. If the project would have been approved last year, there would have been surveillance cameras on that building, along with lighting and activity. It could have easily been prevented. I ask you to consider all of the letters of support you have received in packets last week, with additional ones coming in over the past week and today. I ask you also to consider the editorials in the newspaper. But most importantly, I ask you to look around this room this evening. And I ask everybody who supports this project to stand up with me. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Eric Scatcher. Hopefully I didn't butcher that.
Good job. Well, my name's Eric Scatcherd. I'm a resident of Pottstown for the last 20 years, and I was actually born here 67 years ago. I'm concerned about the new rental ordinance amendment. I'm concerned about the room size requirements outlined in the draft ordinance amendment. If this amendment passes as proposed, it appears that I will lose the right to rent one of my apartments and possibly two. Over the years, I've had multiple permits, spent thousands of dollars, and invested hundreds of hours of sweat equity. Why does a unit have to have one room of 120 square feet? Why does a bedroom have to grow from 70 square feet to 120 square feet for an additional person? The room is used for sleeping. If the renters are friends, what is wrong with bunk beds? According to the amendment, each habitable room is to be 70 square feet, except the kitchen. What about bathrooms? Are they to be 70 square feet? I don't think I have any. Many people seek smaller apartments. Smaller means less expensive. Less expensive allows people on fixed incomes or low-paying jobs to make ends meet. As long as the property is safe and its systems work properly, the agreement should be between the owner and the renters. Homelessness is a problem in America. Please drop these requirements so that the problem does not get worse. Thank you. I'd also like to say that I'm opposed to the annual inspections. It's just over the top. Go after the rogue landlords. One thing that I've thought of that may help, I know it would be a little difficult, for discovery as to who's in a house, is to find out who's paying the electric bill. There's probably plenty of units out there, particularly single houses, where the person that's on the county records is not living in the house. I doubt that they'd be paying the electric. Thank you for your time and allowing me to speak.
Thank you. Just as a point of reference, we are not taking action this evening on that ordinance.
Hannah Davis.
Good evening, Council. My name is Hannah Davis, and my husband and I have lived in Pottstown for over 16 years. 15 of those years we have been homeowners in the borough. Tonight I stand before you and ask that as leaders of the borough of Pottstown and as representatives of the residents, you offer your support and endorsement for the Beach Street project. I have lived on the east and west end of Beach Street and watched the Faceras building slowly fall into an increased state of decay. This project presents great potential to accelerate the revitalization of a historic building, but also the consciousness of a town and its citizens. I ask that you hear my plea as a taxpayer and homeowner and endorse this project. Thank you.
Thank you.
Tom Carroll.
I'm going to read this because talking from the hip is a struggle for me, so I'll read this to you. Good evening, Council. My name is Tom Carroll, and my wife and I are residents of Pottstown Borough since 1988. And I speak both for my wife and myself, and she signed this letter. I'm here to urge Council to believe in the revitalization of this Faceras building. The building has sat vacant for many years. Today, the roof is leaking, and without a considerable investment, the building will need to be torn down. Housing Visions, with assistance from others, is willing to invest over $12 million in the building and has promised to market the apartments to artists. Not too long ago, I visited with a struggling artist who had purchased a Treat house in Pottstown. He was having a difficult time making ends meet, and the sight of the inside of the home was depressing. This is not an isolated case in our community. Young people are buying up the low-priced housing and are unable to keep up with the required maintenance and cost for utilities. Revitalization of the Cesaris building will provide the much-needed apartments for artists, college students, and young people entering the workforce. Housing Visions has promised to screen the applicants and manage and maintain the building. They are successfully doing so in many cities across the country, and the borough's engagement in the Better Landlords program can ensure that Housing Visions lives up to their promises. Pottstown doesn't want any more low-income housing. No more Section 8, no more blighted properties. This is what happened in Pottstown. The past were times of letting things happen, not making things happen. The past were times when we let many of our homes be turned into illegal rental units. The past were times when we let drugs and crime infest our community. The past were times when we let homes turn into uninhabitable dwellings, leaving us with untaxed, vacant, deteriorating buildings. Making it happen is a new way of looking at things. Making it happen is causing the future to be what we want it to be. Causing things to happen is the Montco 240 vision. The comprehensive plan for the future of Montgomery County. Themes from the plan include connected communities, collaboration among stakeholders, sustainable places, modernizing infrastructures and enhancing community character, and vibrant economy, focusing development.
Tom, you got 10 minutes, or 10 seconds. Sorry.
You're welcome. The Housing Vision Project is a collaboration among stakeholders that will modernize our infrastructure, enhance our community, and energize our economy with focused development. Council, don't let you just believe in it, cause it to happen. Collaborate with others in our community. Make it happen. Work with the Housing Visions to find the type of people we need to invigorate Pottstown. If we all work together, we can find the desirable, caliber artists and young people. Collaborating with Montgomery County, the Hill School, the Chamber, the Pottstown District, PAID, Mosaic Community Land Trust, the art community.
You're out of order, sir. We told you from the beginning would be 3 minutes. We were kind when we told you that. I've asked you nicely. You've got to wrap it up, sir.
I will wrap it up if you give me one more paragraph. We would ask you to help to make this project successful. An opportunity for a $12 million project for a rundown building in Pottstown doesn't happen every day. Please believe in the future by not looking at the past. Hold the developer to our promises to screen the tenants and manage to maintain the operation. Hold the community groups accountable to do their part in assisting Housing Visions and finding the right people to live in this building. The Hearts has been the catalyst for the revitalization in many urban areas. Revitalization of our infrastructure is badly needed. Let's make this happen. Let's cause the future to be something different than the past. Thank you. Amen.
Ron Williams.
Good evening. As you saw, I am in favor of the Beach Street Factory project. I'm not certain that I fully understand the objections to this project outside of the parking issue. And that's a subject that the organizers have promised to work toward finding a solution. We have parking issues throughout our borough. Every city and town in this state seem to share this problem. I believe that solutions can be found and that Housing Visions has promised to address this objection. When I think about the downward shift our borough has suffered through these last 20 years or so, I'm saddened. First industry, then retail businesses abandoned us, homeowners suffering the impact of the economic downturn. Some lost their homes, some simply packed up and left. The impact of higher taxes is our school district and the borough have stretched their resources to fund their ongoing responsibilities. The flight from our town by our youngsters. I know that ours is a community that may be on the mend in one sense. Yet I believe that we are a long way off from becoming the successful small-town community that I believe we can be. The key to the future is our children. If we can find a way to invite our children to return home, to be an active part of our growth, therein is the solution. Our school district is filled with innovative, creative, and energetic young people. These youngsters are going to contribute to our future, our national future. They are the most valuable asset that any community has. So why do they leave? Opportunity, the American dream, escape, yeah. What we need to begin to realize is that we can find a way to give our children a reason to come home, to have ownership in this, their home, and to help us to build their community and to make a future for our borough. I see the Faceras project as an opportunity to do just that. The idea that we are a community that can be recognized for its arts and culture is an idea that we should be building on. Entrepreneurial enterprises are born in the arts. Great ideas are born in the creations of others, and an art community such as the one being offered to you here is more than just another rental unit. We can make important contributions to our future, but it requires vision and a willingness for change. What I see in this project is an endeavor to promote the kind of change that will not only rehabilitate a depressed and empty facility, but also provide a new direction for our community to embrace. Thank you.
Thank you.
Darlene Bainbridge.
Just here, along with everyone else here this evening, to support the Beach Street Lofts projects. As a property owner raising my family in this town, I desperately want to see our community turn things around. However, without the support of Borough Council, the two entities presenting the Beach Street Loft project will walk away from us. They made it clear they will not be back a third time. Years ago, when the art gallery and the theater came to High Street, I heard many people say that it was a waste of time. What could the arts do in this town? They said there was no market for it. Art Fusion is celebrating 10 years, and Steel River is coming up on that as well. In that time, we have pulled talent from Pottstown to New York to perform plays. We have had local artists featured in their own shows at the gallery. We brought people from surrounding communities because there is a market for the arts in Pottstown. All I'm asking is that you take advantage of this one opportunity when somebody from outside of our town is willing to step up and make such a sizable investment to do the right thing and support development and support revitalization in an area so much needed. Thank you.
Thank you.
Matt Savino.
Hi, my name is Matt Savino. I'm a landlord of several properties in Borough, and I'm here to speak on behalf of the Better Landlord Ordinance and the yearly inspection ordinance changes, which I am not in favor of. I sent 2 emails actually to all of you, and hopefully they were read, so that pretty much states my opinions, but 2 that I would like to touch base on is 2 things that I would like to touch base on tonight is, one is the yearly inspection, how practical that would be in trying to inspect an occupied property. What you have in place right now works if the inspection office does their job and finds the bad landlords and the people who are not having their buildings inspected. An emptied building is much easier and much more practical to inspect than trying to inspect occupied properties on a yearly basis. The workload, you couldn't do it 4 years ago with 4 inspectors with half the occupied or half the landlords. How will you do it now with trying to get all the properties? The second is the Better Landlord property. Our proposal, you spent $18,500 to do a survey, only for that company to come in and in his proposal or his presentation, he stated that he was not in the landlord business and they were in the economic business, and they hoped that proposing this Better Landlords Act would get them further business from you down the line on the economic area. They also, in the disclaimer, maybe you took notice of the disclaimer, that he quickly avoided and he went right into his presentation. It states, "No representation or warranty is given to the accuracy or completeness of this information contained in this study. Any recommendations, opinions, findings are based on circumstances, and although consultant has endeavored to provide accurate and timely information, there can be no guarantee that such information is accurate." How can the council implement a program when the representative can't even back what he states? Thank you.
Tom Daniels.
Good evening. My name is Tom Daniels. I'm a lifelong resident of the borough of Pottstown. I'm here to support the Beach Street property project. I know what the Viserys building used to be, you know, as a kid, and you know, I used to ride my bike in that area, and they used to let me go in there and move furniture, put a couple dollars in my pocket, and keep moving, you know. And one thing that I learned over the years is people in occupied spaces tie the community together. It doesn't just stop with the building. I think we all realize that if you do something positive in one place, usually something like that will spread and start the revitalization for the other adjoining properties and avenues and stuff like that in the community. And I have no doubt that this project will do the same. I have no doubt that the people in that building will do the same. Like I said, I'm encouraged by what this project could do for the community. I'm encouraged by what this project could do for the people in that area and for the community. And I haven't heard any alternative uses for that building other than this that sound like it might you know, do that, you know, tie our community together the way that people doing positive things, people you know, having housing and having places to go and people to see up and down the block and throughout their neighborhoods, you know, will do like this project. So I encourage you to support the project. I think it's a good thing. I'm encouraged by it, and thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Steve Bamford.
Good evening. I'm Steve Bamford, Executive Director of PAID. Obviously, there's a lot of complex issues around affordable housing. In an effort to be brief, and in my never-ending quest to simplify the complex, it really boils down to two things for me. I'm here this evening to encourage council to support the tax credit application for basically two reasons. First of all, a viable, economically feasible alternative for this building has not been identified, despite the best efforts of the current property owners. And also, quite frankly, my efforts, I've come up short. I don't know, or I have been unsuccessful in identifying an alternative. I believe we run the very real risk of having this property remain vacant, or in the best case, substantially underutilized for a considerable period of time if we don't move forward with this project. And if that happens, it'll become even more of a blight on that particular neighborhood and the community. Secondly, I think, regardless of how you feel philosophically about affordable housing, I think these types of projects really come down to two things: execution and quality management. I am very confident that the two players in this project, Housing Visions and Genesis Housing, will do a quality job of developing the project, and perhaps more importantly, a quality job of managing it. I really do believe they are committed to thoroughly screening the tenants, and I also believe they're committed to quality property management to properly maintain this landmark building. Thank you.
Thank you.
Alex Butts.
Hi, I'm here to speak in regards to the new inspection program for rental properties. I was here before, and I just want to restate some of my points that A, there's an inspection process that is already in place and functions in between tenants when the property is empty, and also
to the issue that a tenant could be living with a problem because the inspection went so long without, whether a unit went so long without being inspected. I own 15 units in town here, and if a tenant has a problem with a unit in between inspections, they are more than free to come to the borough and present that problem, fill out a form, and it spurs an inspection. So I think that the inspection process that's in place works well. I think the new inspection process would be invasive, expensive, and also unfair because you'd have to also inspect homeowner occupied homes as well to be fair. You can't just say we're going to inspect these houses and not inspect those houses. And my last point being is that if the Better Landlord program goes through or this rental inspection goes through and you guys do get around to voting on it when the time comes, I've talked to over 100 landlords myself personally and in town here, and I do believe that you'll face legal repercussions, and which will cost you money. And I'm not saying that to be threatening, I'm just saying factual. If it goes through, I do believe the landlords will work together and there will be some legal repercussions that you'll end up having to deal with financially and time. So I think you should consider the inspection process that's in place, review it, see if you think it works well. I think it does. And leave well enough alone. If it's functioning, if it isn't broken, don't fix it. And it's not broken, it works just fine. We get inspected in between tenants. If a tenant has a problem, they fill out a form. That spurs another inspection. And to inspect while the tenant's there each year would be excessive. And that's my point.
Thank you.
I believe it's Patricia Hughes.
Hi, my name is Patricia Hughes, and I wanted to speak about my opposition to the rental inspections and also the Better Landlord program. My concern is, as a landlord, I am held to the standards of the inspections. I comply with the rules and the regulations. But many of the homes that I own are next to property owners that are not, their homes are in disarray. There is no recourse for me. Safety is safety. If it is safe for me as a landlord, it should be the rule for the property owner. I almost feel like it's discriminatory that landlords are held to a higher standard than property owners. Many, like I have a property on York Street. The house immediately next to it, attached to it, has been vacant for 2 years. 2 years. It is not an investor, it is a foreclosure. The house catty corner to mine has been for sale. It is a foreclosure, not by an investor. It has been for sale for a really long time. 3 doors down, there is a property that has been for sale in foreclosure, not an investor. And these houses go unbought, uncared for, but yet I feel like landlords are being targeted fiscally to make up for deficits in the community, when I really believe, in fact, that many landlords do a good job of upholding their property, taking care of them, taking care of their tenants. And I really feel as though for the inspections, the frequency of it, it would need to be imposed on all residents as well as landlords to be fair. I don't believe in the Better Landlord program. There has been no evidence based on the studies that it works. It seems expensive, it seems intrusive, and again, there's no evidence that it works, and that has to be looked at. These are my concerns. Thank you.
Thank you.
Brooke Morton.
Hi, my name is Brooke Martin. I just wanted to voice my support for the Beach Street Factory project. The property is in my neighborhood. I live on May Street where I own a home and pay taxes. A large vacant property like that invites a lot of crime, and there has been a lot in that neighborhood over the past year or more. It also lowers property values. Developing that building will improve the community and make it safer for my neighbors and for myself to spend more time out in our own neighborhood. Art Fusion has been a great part of the community for 10 years. Supporting the arts will benefit the children in our community and also encourage visitors to come to Pottstown and spend money. I hope you issue a letter of support. I also second the request for further explanation if a letter is not issued. So thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Don Reed.
I'm glad I rushed here from the dentist to comment on two things that are not on the agenda. However, I'll be very brief. I was going to comment on the proposed rental ordinance, which obviously you're not voting on. I do thank council for tabling that. Maybe you want to rethink that a little bit. I did send an email to all of you or most of you, and I hope you take that into consideration. I'll be happy to talk to anyone one-on-one about it, about the objections I have, or